get started with a first question, which is, are fossil fuel giants doing enough to help the offshore wind energy sector? And for that, I'd like to ask Jean-Gabriel Robert, Senior Manager Climate Change and Sustainability Services at Ernst & Young, to join me on stage. Good morning. Is it working?
Good morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. So, what's your answer to that question?
Well, how serious are oil and gas giants? How serious are oil and gas giants when it comes to contributing to the development of the offshore wind sector? How are they committed to this sector? Those are very important questions for the whole industry, of course. And first element of answer is that these actors are facing huge challenges to evolve their business model to be aligned with a net zero economy. And so they need to reinvent, redefine the way they generate value on the long term, decorrelating value generation from GHG emission, greenhouse gases emissions. And so to do that, they are having two routes, two pathways to decarbonize their value creation model. One, of course, is decarbonization, which is a top priority, of course, and they're doing that through ambition to reach net zero operational emissions by 2050. This is their commitment taken during the COP28, but they are also having intermediate objectives, especially regarding top priorities, which are methane reduction and also suppressing routine flaring by 2030. So decarbonization is important, of course, yet it's not enough. We know that in all net zero transition scenarios, the overall investments in oil and gas activities will decline in the next years, in the coming years, in the coming decades. So they need to diversify. And diversification is getting increasingly prominent, as we will see, with some opportunities, some technologies that have been clearly identified by these oil giants. Of course, renewable energy is the first area they have identified, but there are also other activities that have been well identified, such as carbon capture, bioenergy, and hydrogen production. If we look at the figures, there has been a clear acceleration of investments from oil and gas actors in clean technologies in the recent past. So they have been increasingly investing over the past 10 years in these technologies, yet we see that there has been a huge acceleration in 2021 onwards. The compound annual growth rate of these investments during the 15-20 period was 12%. It went up to 54% over the 2023 period. And I'm pretty sure we will continue this way. When you look at these figures, you see it's not surprising that the key targets for oil and gas actors in terms of investments in low-carbon technologies are solar PV and wind, generally speaking, onshore and offshore. Most of the majority of investment that have been conducted by these actors over the 10 past years were targeting these industries. Even though during the two last years, they have more diversified in other areas, such as green hydrogen and bioenergy or energy storage. Sorry. So we see that there is a clear pattern, a clear trend of acceleration. And if you look at the share of this investment, we could ask ourselves if they are doing enough. That was your question. At the moment, only 4% of their total investments are targeting clean technologies, so 4.2% overall in 2023. If we look at all oil and gas actors, Of course, they can do more, but it's not negligible at this stage, and so it's interesting to see how the things will evolve going forward. If we look in the detail at European oil and gas actors, we see that the share of investments in clean technologies are much higher. For example, 35% for TotalEnergies, and so it's clearly the European actors are leading the way, are paving the way for other oil and gas. We can imagine that other oil and gas giants from Asia, Middle East, or US could one day reach this type of investment. And so we see that there is a clear trend towards acceleration of investments in renewable energy for European actors. Of course, they are having an increasing interest for offshore wind. It makes a lot of sense for them to target this technology. Those European oil actors, they have started investing in offshore wind at different moments. Some of them, like Equinor, started long ago. Some of them, like TotalEnergies, started more recently. Yet it's very interesting to see that most of them, at least for European actors, now have multi-gigawatt portfolio of projects under development, mostly under development. Some of these projects are reaching construction or operation phase yet, though. Some examples of these projects that are very emblematic. Seagreen in Scotland was very important for TotalEnergies, as they have a 25% equity share in this project. Of course, for Equinor, Dogger Bank on the east coast of England will be a game changer and a very important project for them for offshore wind. One word about the German North Sea tender back in 2023, which was a major milestone for the oil and gas actors regarding offshore wind, as they were awarded 7 gigawatts, 4 for BP and 3 for TotalEnergies. And so those projects are now in active phase of development. And interesting point as well, we see these actors not only focusing on European markets, but also very active in other markets, including the US. So for example, we have Shell in partnership with EDF that secured a project, the Atlantic Shore project in New Jersey. We also have Equinor who has secured one project as well. So we see that there is a strong interest in other geographies. And one last word about the relevance of this diversification. Of course, they are doing it because it makes a lot of sense for them, because it's a way to meet their carbon objectives, because it's also a way to secure their capacity to generate value over the long run. But it also makes a lot of sense from a job and skills perspective. As I said, the overall investment in the oil and gas industry are set to decline in the years to come. The jobs that are secured by this industry are, to some extent, will be reduced in the years to come. So we estimate that 1.8 million jobs will be suppressed or will have to be converted in this industry from now to 2030. And so clearly offshore wind is part of the answer to reallocate these jobs, to reallocate these skills, especially for the skills that are already in the offshore oil and gas. As you can see, there are strong similarities in terms of skills and competencies in these two areas.
Thank you very much, Jean-Gabriel Robert from EY.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.